welcome everyone. Thanks for coming. I just want to give you a couple announcements. Sorry, I was in the room with the patient and then Allie was, so I didn't get the chance to go home, so we have Allie here with us tonight. So anyway, she should be hopefully quiet. I brought her a little toy in. I don't know if I trust her in the office by herself. But anyway, so tonight we've got a great speaker coming up soon. We have a cooking class on October 8th, and that'll be at the Hy-Vee on Middle Road in Devil's Glen. So it'll be at noon. And Lisa can fill you in on all the, I can't remember all the, what we have for choices, but some good choices. So that'll be, and then in October we'll also have another healing meeting at the end of the last week of October. And so we'll fill you in on that. Just kind of watch our Facebook pages and our website. And we have Dancing with the Stars coming up on November 30th. That'll be our big event. And Dr. Samir will be dancing.
What?
I can twist this.
You might have to think about
Don't
that.
say that, she'll write your name down for next year.
Oh, no, I will. It's already in here. Yes, Mike's gonna dance.
Dance this year?
Yes.
I guess I am.
Yes.
Ask me, and I
So we
said,
have that,
"So,
that's our
no,
big event
it's
coming
right
up
down."
this year. That's our last big event this year. And so be sure to, you know, keep looking at our Facebook page and our website. The link should be live this next coming week. So we have a kickoff party next Friday, should be fun. So again, we're gonna introduce you, Dr. Samir Mahfouz. He's, I can actually let you tell, but he's an anesthesiologist for Genesis, working in Illinois, and 25 years, kind of with schooling and everything, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so, but anyway, I'll let you talk about more about what you're going to talk to us about. And so I'm very interested because the last time he was wonderful, lots of questions. So I'm sure you're going to take some questions afterwards as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to do something different this time because
Okay.
the last time I think we spent almost like 3 hours. Yeah, and I was planning to spend like an hour. It ends up that we kept talking after my lecture,
Yeah.
2 hours
No, that's
after, non-stop. So I'm trying to give more room for you guys. I'm not going to repeat what I said last time because this time again I'm going to be focusing on the part that's related to the treatment itself rather than how can functional medicine or any kind of integrative medicine can help.
I like
And
treatment.
focus mainly on the treatment and how to guide you when you choose this mode of treatment to choose the right doctor. Doesn't have to be me, you are free to choose anyone. But there are very important things you need to be aware before going through this process, because I'm not saying it's lengthy process, but it's kind of, at least you need to see, in order to reverse an illness, it needs up to 1 year, or sometimes 1.5 years to achieve this. So establishing a relation with a doctor, it's very important, and you have to choose the right person before you get started. Otherwise, everything is going to be kind of waste of effort, waste of hope, waste of money, waste of time, waste of anything. So again, thank you, Lisa, for extending this invitation to
Thank
me
you,
today.
yeah, very excited.
And let's get started to see what I have for you guys today.
Okay, great, thank you.
I'm not sure if I can connect this laptop. If not, I can forward the presentation to your email so that we can get it here and can present it.
Okay, sure.
I think because I don't think there is kind of cable that might fit this.
Oh, we do have that cable.
Let me see, I can,
I'm gonna see. Okay.
Let's see, because it's like a small one here.
We have it in the drawer just right across the hall.
If this didn't work, we're gonna do that last time. Last time we did it this way. We sent you an email, we got it here, you opened it. So
Okay.
it works either way.
Yeah, either
We'll
way.
see. Yeah.
Okay, Scott's our IT, he's good.
Yep.
He helped you last time.
I think so.
He did.
You did.
Okay. So she's gonna check real quick first and then we'll let you help him. Is that okay?
Under any of these big categories, definitely gonna find something. The first one on top, which is the biofilm. Bio means live, film, it's like layer. So this biofilm is your main enemy. The main enemy, why? Because it harbors a lot of microorganisms underneath, very hard to reach. and make these organisms safe, and none of the medication, either herbal or non-herbal medication, can affect them. And they are chronic in your body. This is the reason why your symptoms fluctuate. You have certain period of peace where you feel like you are a little bit better and you can cope with what you have, and then in a few weeks, a few months, or whatever, up to years, sometimes it happens in any autoimmune disease, you have exacerbation. So your remission and exacerbation, the reason why it happens, because you have chronic microorganisms of all kinds, including viruses, bacteria, parasites, heavy metals, all of these things, they together have a way or another, and we're not going to go through the details of this, to live together in a symbiotic, means that they live in a harmony together, and then they are sealed with this biofilm to protect themselves from your immune system so that they last forever. So this is the way they protect themselves, through the biofilm, so that they are away from your immune system. Your immune system cannot recognize or see them. So as a result, it's not going to attack them. And during the course, while they are sealed like this, they start to modulate your immune system. And so your immune system instead of recognizing them as foreign and destroy them, it starts to destroy your body cells. And this is how autoimmunity happens. Because your body started to attack a wrong target. Instead of attacking these guys, under the protection of the biofilm, they started to attack you. How this happened? Because these microorganisms relieve a lot of toxins and a lot of biologically active compounds over years, and modulate the perception of these immune systems. Instead of attacking them, they start. This is a very long process, and there's a lot of theories how this happened. We're not going to talk about it, but I just want you to understand there is something called biofilm harboring a lot of organisms, and these organisms are chronic. It's not acute. It's like someone having an abscess or having something, or like a pimple, or this is acute redness. You go to your doctor, give you incise it, under drain it, or give you an antibiotic. This is called acute infection. But this one is chronic. Chronic that it doesn't give any kind of severe symptoms, and it lasts 40 years, and then these organisms started to protect themselves this way. And actually, what makes it more difficult, it started to fossilize themselves. Fossilize like fossils. You know fossils? Fossils is like when the decaying organisms or living body over thousands of years, they started to have like solid things in the rocks. And then when you started to break it, you realize, oh yeah, this is 15,000 years ago. Oh yeah, we found this and this back to certain and ancient time. This is how it works. How this happened? Because this biofilm is supposed to be like jello or like gelatinous material. So someone may think, okay, this is gelatinous material, so what's the problem? I think with some medication or it can break this layer and kills whatever underneath. Why this doesn't happen? Because, as I told you, this biofilm over time starts to get fossilized. That the minerals, like the calcium you get from whatever food you are eating, or even the supplements you are getting, started to solidify this mucus layer and make it hard. So this is a second stage. This will guarantee that these organisms underneath are going to live, flourish, affect your immune system, and do the bad job. As a result of this biofilm, your body immune system is under stress all the time. Not in acute stage, but chronically or all the time. You are sleeping, you're working, you're doing whatever. It's always under continuous mild to moderate stress for many years. This will lead to something called adrenal fatigue. Adrenal is the gland which is above your kidneys, and this is the gland responsible for the release of the cortisol and other hormones involved in the immune process. And this adrenal fatigue will start to affect your thyroid gland. And this is There is no wonder that most of autoimmune diseases, whatever the name, I'm sure that every one of you have different name of this autoimmune illness. Thyroid gland is a common factor in all of them. Just to let you know, even if you went to your doctor and your doctor drew blood and it says that your TSH level or T4 or T3 are normal, your gland is not normal. So this blood test is nonsense because the thyroid dysfunction, it happens here, happens at the level of the cell. It doesn't happen at the level of your blood. What's in your blood is just a release of certain hormones. And always remember, what do we say? Your doctor tells you, I'm gonna write you an order to go to the lab to have a blood test. Focus on what he's saying, blood test. So the blood test cannot detect anything happening in different areas. It's blood test, that's why it detects changes in your blood, right? Makes sense. Blood test, it detects something in your blood or your serum or plasma or something like that. The dysfunction happens in the autoimmune illness is completely different from someone have a problem in his thyroid and went to a surgeon and he did thyroidectomy or took part of his thyroid. In these circumstances, when you do this, you have alternation in your blood thyroxine level. But in autoimmune, everything happens at the level of the cell, inside the cell, and this is something beyond any blood test to detect. So this happens as a result of the adrenal fatigue. You have continuous release of your cortisol. That's why a lot of patients started to develop diabetes as a result of autoimmunity and the continuously high morning blood sugar. You know you're not diabetic. You exercise, you watch what you eat, you do whatever you feel like. You wake up in the morning, you have your morning blood sugar, fasting blood sugar, and it's high. Why it's high? Because your adrenal gland is always working. You have continuous cortisol, you have continuous high blood sugar. This cortisol is the reason why this thyroid doesn't work at the level of the cell. That's why you have thyroid dysfunction. And as a result of the thyroid dysfunction, this gland is called one of the master glands in your body. It affects your body from head to toe. There is no single cell, no single organ in your body can work or function without adequately and functional thyroxine. What form of thyroid? It's called T3, not the T4. When you go to a doctor, and even by mistake, if your test came back positive and give you L-thyroxine, which is the T4, and this T4 is not going to help. You gave the patient T4, and the test showed that the T4 is low. It's not going to help you with the autoimmunity. You need T3. Your problem as an autoimmune patient that you have problem converting the T4 to the T3. This is the main problem. So your doctor says, okay, we're on the test, your TSH is a little bit high. We see that your T4 is low. We're gonna give you T4 as a supplement. You give the T4 because it's low and it doesn't take effect. You have a problem because he take it for granted that he is going to give you T4 and your body is going to convert it to T3. This is not going to happen. Why? Because you have a problem with your adrenal gland. And why you have a problem with your adrenal gland? Because of the biofilm. Your doctor doesn't know that there is something called biofilm, and even if he knows, I don't think he's going to know, as a conventional, he's not going to be aware of this. It's a continuous source of adrenal fatigue and thyroid dysfunction. So this process is gonna keep happening and going non-stop. You need to break this cycle. The thyroid is going to affect, as I told you, every single cell in your body and every single system in your body. This hormone is going to take what you eat, after you eat, to turn it into energy. Without thyroxine, you cannot convert things that you eat every day, including carbs, including lipids, including proteins, into energy. Something that your body work. That's why you feel fatigue, you feel pain, you feel whatever. Because of what? Because you, at the cellular level, at the level of the cell, your cell cannot make use of what you eat. Why? Because there is no working thyroxine. If there is thyroxine in your blood, yes. Do you have adequate level? Yes. Do you have a working, functioning thyroxine? No. So what you eat is going to be digested, and I'm sure that this process of digestion is not going to be completed, and it will end up even whatever completed, and it's a simple form so that your cells can make use of it. Your cells are not gonna be, won't be able to make use of it because you don't have the functioning with the working thyroxine. The functioning thyroxine, which is a T3, is needed to make use of the amino acids from the glucose, from the simple fatty acids. It takes all of them and convert into something called ATP, and this ATP is the unit that your body understands. I want to work, I want to think, I want to go from place to another, I want to move my muscles, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to digest what I'm eating, I want to. You need energy for all of these things. You don't have energy, you don't have ATP, that's why you start to freeze. So one of the most important things that actually make this biofilm non-stop is that your thyroid, or the functional thyroid as we agreed, which is the T3, help with the digestive process. That means that you don't have digestive enzymes or juice coming from your stomach or your bile or your pancreas. All of these organs just mentioned, which is your stomach, your gallbladder, and your pancreas are the main sources secreting enzymes to deal with what you eat. If you don't have working thyroid, all of you're gonna lose your digestive capacity. That means that you eat, and then what you eat is like 30 or 40% digested, and then the rest is going to go to stool undigested and out. That means that you cannot have amino acids, glucose, and fatty acids enough to do building blocks. You cannot do regeneration of what's already damaged by the autoimmune process. That's why you started to feel more fatigue, and you started to lose your body weight, you started to lose your muscle, you start to lose your power. This is what happened. You have damage, and you don't have resources to restore what's broken, because you cannot digest. Why you cannot digest? Because you don't have adequate digestive power. Why digestion can affect the biofilm? Because this biofilm, the reason why it starts to build up from the beginning of the cycle, because I can start this cycle from any point, by the way. I started from the top. Why this biofilm is formed over years? Because you don't have enough enzymes, and these enzymes actually is the reason why it liquefies this biofilm day by day. If you have adequate digestive enzymes from your stomach, from your gallbladder, from your pancreas, it digests every nucleus is formed in your body. Because of these microorganisms I just mentioned, it attack it and kill it, it digests it. So there is no point, it's not going to happen that it's going to be formed, right? But what happens that over years, when this process starts as mild and you are asymptomatic, you don't have anything, this process actually happens over years before you start to have the symptoms. And getting more intense and severe till you reach a point where everything is established. So, if you have this poor digestive capacity, you start to make this biofilm. You cannot digest because every moment your body tends to make this. You have organisms coming from the environment you're living in, from the food you are eating, from the water you're drinking. This is why this biofilm have everything around you in nature. When it comes, so someone is, how did I get all of these dirts and it started to have your body make this biofilm on top of it? Where did I get this from? From the environment. We are not living in heaven yet. We are still living on the earth. It's full of this, full of parasites, viruses around you, bacteria, heavy metals in the cooking pots, heavy metals in the pipes, heavy metals in the processed food they are using, heavy metals in the anything in a wrap or in a can or anything, it's full of heavy metals. These are small amount, negligible amount, it shouldn't harm you by the FDA. This is not true because you have poor digestive capacity. You are not like a normal person. You cannot detoxify your body and kick these things out of your system. That's why over years, because you have this, all of these things started to accumulate in your body, live, as I explained to you, symbiotically, like living together, and because you have this, you cannot digest the layer that protect them. It started to accumulate, and then someone, oh yeah, why don't you take calcium? Why don't you take magnesium? Why don't you take this, that? Oh, okay, it's very good. It fossilized them. Does that mean that calcium and magnesium and all of these minerals are bad? No, they are good. But when? At a certain stage during treatment. As I explained last time, that treatment with this kind of approach, which is functional medicine or any alternative approach, doesn't happen overnight. It's not like a pill you take and the next day or the next month you're going to wake up, you're done. No, it's like phases. Phases every month. You're going to have, your doctor is going to shift you from a phase to 2, to 3, to 4, to 5, to 6, and each phase have different goals, and he's not going to change you to the next phase until he makes sure that you are done with this phase. Otherwise, giving certain supplements or giving certain minerals, which is assumed to be beneficial, is going to be harmful. Like if someone is giving you, oh yeah, guys, now everything is good. We heard about certain algae called chlorella that's full of vitamins, minerals, everything your body needs. Good. Is it good? Yes. When? This is the question. If you give it early in the process, again, you're going to fossilize this biofilm. When you give it, after you get done with all of this. Seriously, after you get done with all of this, after everything is clean, after everything is clean, you can start using things to help your body restore itself. So why don't we apply it and get the job done? There are definitely certain challenges, but these challenges is not going to prevent you achieving the main goal, which is mainly your restoration. First thing, the different leading triggers of your pain. What does that mean? That down the process of applying this technique I just explained briefly, you're gonna have pain of many sources, not only from one source. Think about it. You already come into your doctor and you have pain. And this is happening because of the primary process of the old things that I just mentioned with the biofilm, and the organism that chronically living in your gut. It's living for many years, right? And this organism make a lot of toxins, and these toxins is one of the reasons why you have this pain. Fine. Over years, these toxins started to cause damage to your body. And the damage to your nervous system and the damage to your muscles is going to be another cause of pain. So these toxins by itself, even if it's in your circulation for one day, for anyone healthy, is going to cause pain. Why you are special? Because you have the toxins and it's been for a long period of time, it caused secondary damage. So your pain is because of two things now, right? Because of the primary problem and because of the damage these toxins caused, right? What else? When you go to your doctor, or the conventional doctor, he is going to give you more chemicals, which is usually your pain meds. He's going to add. What else? When you go to your alternative doctor, he is going to give you medication in a trial to break this biofilm and kill this organism. It's called a probably process that you hear about, which is Herxheimer reaction or die of symptoms. Okay, this is happening when you attack this organism and you kill them. It has toxin inside it. So when it breaks, these toxins start to liberate in your system. So this is going to be another cause of pain. So you have pain because of the organism itself. You have pain because of the damage it caused. You have pain because of other doctors trying to help you. You have pain because of even the alternative approach, while killing this, is going to liberate the toxins from inside the microorganism, and it causes pain. So we have 4 reasons of pain. Who is going to guide you with this and make a distinction which one of these is behind your pain at this moment? Someone experienced, know what he's doing, because your doctor is going to do certain steps every month, one after another, so he knows what are you going through and can explain to you why you're having this now, why this is happening now. You're gonna have a period of rest, so we are not going to give anything. We're gonna detoxify you now at this stage, and we're gonna wait a little bit till your body recover, and then we're gonna do this now. So this process cannot be self-guided. This is very important. And as I explained probably last time, this kind of approach is custom-made, meaning that everyone is going to be dealt differently, even for the same autoimmune disease. If you have 2 patients suffering from the same autoimmune disease, each one of them is going to have different plan based on at what stage you are now. It's not like one formula that fits all and you try this and it's all done. No, this is process, and it has to be explained, and your doctor is going to help you how long that might take, and what is the plan within the next 3 months, and then what's going to happen in the 3 months later, and why we're doing this. I'm going to explain later. If you are working with one of doctors alternative medicine and he doesn't have a clear vision or plan what he's doing with you, please quit. This is not trials and errors. This is science that has to be done in order to make use of time, money, your health, and your hope as well. Because this is your hope is something is priceless. This is very important, because if you have hope in recovery and it's wasted because of ignorance, it's going to be very frustrating. So now we are aware with the sources of this different kinds of pain, as I explained. And what are the solutions? The solution is, like, as I told you, it's important to work with someone, know his business, explain to you that you're going to go through phases, explain all the phases from the beginning after he built a customizable plan for you and tells you what's going on. If you try to get involved with any doctor trying to convince you that this is going to help you, and it doesn't have any clear plan, it will end up with unexpected results. Number 2, contradiction. What is this challenge? Contradiction in what? Of the interest. And I'm going to give you an example of this just to understand. Probably I mentioned a little bit about it. We're going to go back to this just to explain what contradiction means. These steps that lead to each other in this loop, sometimes it has contradiction means that it doesn't match or doesn't work with the other things in this loop. Why? If someone look at this, and starting to do self-treatment, let me try to simulate the situation. Looking at this, okay guys, this is how I'm going to proceed. I'm going to go to Amazon and I'm gonna look to everything that can break this biofilm. We have like a lot of digestive enzymes here and that, and you're gonna find that these enzymes are specifically made to break the biofilm, and you're gonna buy 2 or 3 of them. And then adrenal fatigue, I know a website for Dr. Wilson. He's specialized in adrenal fatigue, and this is actually what triggers me. When someone work in certain area and his website and his own clinic and his own life is directed only towards one of these. This is like as if you have a little piece of the puzzle and you are using it to do miracles. This is not going to work. So, and I'm gonna buy his formula for the adrenal fatigue. If it has procrine tissues from the suprarenal gland and vitamin C and magnesium mix, and they put them together in a bottle, and This is the business that you're gonna see over the internet. Adrenal fatigue is #1 cause of this, blah, blah. And we have the magic formula. We're putting certain herbs, magnesium, vitamin C, procrine, adrenal, and with, okay, this is another bottle you're gonna buy, 2 or 3 bottles for the biofilm, and then go to your doctor to see if he can prescribe you T4, or probably get something like the T-active T3 itself that we're talking about, which is called cytomel. If someone is aware of this cytomel, it's the T3, and then I can have other digestive enzymes to help me with the process, and combine this together. In the morning I wake up, I take a bunch of tablets, and like a meal, boom, I'm gonna reverse my illness. You are going to screw up your body. Seriously. Why this is happening? You have everything. Here is the loop. I bought everything, like Dr. Sam said in the lecture. Why it's not working? Because it's not based on science. What you're doing is not based on science. Each step here explained has to be done to serve the next at a certain point. And you have to wait till certain things take effect. And then you start the other thing. I'm gonna give you a few examples to see that probably mistake. I'm pretty sure every one of you did it already. I probably explained about the magnesium. You wake up stiff. Someone recommends you. You're stiff. It's better than any Flexeril. You just go and have 4 tablets of magnesium malate, magnesium citrate, magnesium chelate, magnesium whatever, hibabate, or anything, any name. You take this magnesium before you go to sleep. It actually works. It helps you to relax. It helps you to go to sleep in time. It helps you to fine. Everything looks like working. If you have constipation, this magnesium is working wonderful. It moves your bowel. Everything looks great. Yes, oh, the magnesium is good. And again, it fossilized, as I explained to you, the biofilm. What does that mean? You're going to be in this process of autoimmunity for life. Why? Because you are taking medication, it helps you at one side and cause harm at the other side. It helps you with certain symptoms, but it will keep the process going till end of days. Why? Because you are making this biofilm to get fossilized. So you think that magnesium is the best thing happened to my life. Why the process is never ending? Because it helps you at one side and it doesn't, and it do the opposite job from the other side. This is one example. Other example, Candida. Everyone, oh yeah, one of the doctors on the internet. Candida is the source of 300 illness on the planet. All the diseases happen because of Candida. Guys, you have to watch the Candida can invade your body, you go in your stream, it causes blah, 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 blah. Okay, and you read what's in the internet and what are the symptoms of the Candida, and you see yourself in this Candida symptoms. You read, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I have. This doctor should be. He is the one. I'm gonna follow every little thing he's doing. This Candida, the reason #1, probably I don't have an autoimmune disease. I have Candida. I have to kill it now. I have to buy this stuff, and this should make wonders, right? This is the way. Because you read the symptoms, it gives you like 3 pages of symptoms of the Candida, right? And then you feel like this is myself. This is me exactly over the last 10 years. This is exactly describing me. Myself. Okay, so why don't you give a try? Buy this Candida. And then you buy it and it doesn't work, and it give a little improvement or probably not at all, or some patient get worse. Why? Because when you take magnesium, for example, with Candida, all the studies said that magnesium is going to keep Candida alive. They did a study. They put small amount of Candida in a big pool, like swimming pool, and they put very trace amount of magnesium away from it, and they calculated in a week. They figured out that they have their ability to grab this magnesium and survive. And as long as you have magnesium in your body, this Candida in your body is gonna look for the magnesium and take it to survive. So again, you take magnesium. I'm not anti-magnesium, by the way. It's given at a certain stage in your body because it's very important element. It's very important for the action of your digestive enzyme. It's going to be used, but when? In certain stage of your treatment. You take it haphazardly, you're gonna get a lot of problem out of it. These are other examples. you have a lot of parasites and you are not aware you have parasites. This is very common. This is one of the biggest thing, probably I talked about it last time, and I told you that these parasites are very important. You, like thyroid, you go to your doctor, you check, your thyroid gland is good, you don't have thyroid. Parasites, you go to your doctor, doctor, I think I read that there might be some parasites. Okay, let's do parasite, it calls parasite times 3, and you go, you do the test, it comes back negative. You don't have parasite. No, you have. The answer is you have. You have a negative test, you have parasite. Why it doesn't show up? This is a lecture that we can speak about 3 hours again, but we're not gonna come to this point. You have parasites no matter what, you have it. Why it doesn't show in your stool? Because of the stupid, you say it loudly. Because of the stupid, biofilm. Why? It lives under this thick coverage. It escapes. So you may think, but at least these parasites should have some little eggs because they are still alive, and these eggs should go to your stool. Yes, do you know what is the life cycle of these parasites? It happens, this should happen 3 days per month. Do you guarantee that you are going to go to your doctor and you have a stool sample and they coincide with the 3 days and not any time in the 3 days at a certain time? This is like 1 in 1,000. It's a coincidence. When this happens, it's a coincidence. So we have to take things for granted. You have parasites no matter what. You have a lot of microorganisms under biofilm no matter what. You have thyroid problem no matter what. You have adrenal fatigue no matter what. You don't digest your food. You have all of it. Adrenal fatigue. And, let's explain something like B12. B12 is very important. Again, most of these organisms cause, in their toxins, as I explained, each one of them produce certain toxins. The toxins liberated from most of these microorganisms have properties of like most of these vitamins in your body. So for example, Candida can form something like the folic acid. You take folic acid from outside, you start to get anxious and you feel like you are irritable and you don't know why your folic acid, which is supposed to be good, is not working. You take sublingual vitamin B12, you started to get agitated and irritated. Why? Because most of these microorganisms produce certain toxins and substances similar to this. So you have exaggerated forms of these multivitamins. So again, at what time you should take these things? During the process. When? When you clear all of this. You take, probably all of you, I'm pretty sure, tried L-glutamine. Oh yeah, everything is leaky gut. So leaky gut is because after you are done with the Candida and you feel like you didn't achieve any success with this, your doctor said, okay, you have leaky gut, and I found this in the website. Everything is leaky gut, and with the leaky gut, your Superman or your super intelligent doctor told you, yeah, it's all about having L-glutamine and probiotics. And again, you go to Vitamin Shoppe or CVS or whatever, you buy both of them, and then you try them, and the result is frustrating as well. And sometimes in many people, they have the L-glutamine and started to worsen the symptoms. It's very common. You find yourself in the L-glutamine. Why? While you have all of the things that I just mentioned in this loop, when you take L-glutamine, the L-glutamine, because of the microorganism under the biofilm, it transformed this L-glutamine to ammonia. And this ammonia is going to cause you everything: brain fog, behavioral dysfunction, irritability, sleep problems, nerve pains, abnormal skin sensation when you start to rub your skin and you feel like you don't want to touch your skin, feel skin hypersensitivity. It happens because of the L-glutamine. Why? Because this L-glutamine, instead of healing your gut, it reacts with the biofilm and it causes the opposite effect. So I just give you this is a long list. It's never-ending list of things happen because you decided to have all of this at once and you don't know which one before the other. It happened, so what it happens? It happens that you started to get adverse effect because you are not using things in appropriate time, appropriate doses, and appropriate thing. You started to use them. And you start to get diverse effect and you don't know what to do. So again, this is something that we're just talking about, which is the contradiction of things when they don't work in harmony. Solution of this, again, working with someone, understand this. You're probably working with a lot of alternative doctors. They are not aware of this because they don't have any awareness of this cycle, how to do things. It's just that they think that the patient will come, I will suggest certain things to eat, I will suggest certain supplements to take, and let's say if the patient achieve a 15% improvement, I will be a successful guy. It doesn't work like that. You need to work with someone, have a systematized approach, scientifically oriented, know what he's going to do for the next year, and work with you in order to achieve something. Right? Is what you want, or you want anything? Anything? I don't think so. The end point of what we're doing, before we go into the details, what you expect when you started to deal with this into reality, is any approach, either the intention of your conventional doctor or your alternative doctor, he believes that he wanted to restore your balance. What is the difference between the two specialties, either alternative or alternative or conventional? That each one of these specialties think differently. In order to restore your body balance, if you started to restore your body balance based on the result, you're going to achieve something. And if you start to do the same thing, which is good intention, that your doctor is willing to help you, the cause is going to give you different result. Let me explain. You are sick because your body is not balanced. Right? Do you agree? Your body is not balanced, that's why you're sick. Someone is telling you, I will help you to restore your balance. So what's the intention of this guy? To cure you, right? Good. If his approach is restoration of your balance based on the result. Result of what? Result of the imbalance. You have imbalance. Every imbalance have result. What is the result? Good or bad? What are the results of the imbalance? Bad, of course, right? You have imbalance, you're gonna have bad results. What is this bad results? A lot of symptoms, the symptoms that you have. If someone think that he can restore you through or via dealing with the results, he is going to give you techniques to cope with what you have. So basically, restoration of your balance based on the result, this is what conventional medicine serve. You have a lot of symptoms, pain, we give you pain medication. Abdominal pain, it's antispasmodic. Something for the vertigo, you feel like you're dizzy, like for Dramamine or something working with to help you with the balance using antihistaminics and all of that. This is like you are trying to restore your balance based on what happened to you because of your illness. Does this work to? No, it's not going to work to restore your body. This is going to help you to cope with what you have. But if someone tells you that I'm going to restore your imbalance based on cause, I'm gonna take the cause of your imbalance away. What do you think is going to happen? You're gonna achieve balance, and you're gonna give the chance for your body to heal itself. So the whole idea of this, there is something called your body can heal itself. This is true. But when? When you remove the cause of the imbalance. You guys understand? You have imbalance, that's why you're sick. If someone is helping you to take the cause of the imbalance away, what is going to happen? To happen? Balance. That means you're going to be healthy. But if someone is going to deal with the result of this imbalance, do you think you can restore get restored? No, you're going to cope. This is important concept because the reason why I'm telling you this, I want to mention names because this is not ethical. And they are here and everywhere, either in the net or in Quad City, even in their website, in their videos they are putting in their website. And they work in field of alternative medicine or holistic or integrative or functional. They believe that they are doing this, but eventually they are doing this. Tell you how. What being said in the video. The doctor is saying I'm expert in the science of integrative medicine, which is good. Everyone can be an expert. And then, this is what I found in the patients coming to my office, that they come feeling fatigued and dizzy and tired, alternation in their mode and sleeping habits, sexual life. And once they come to my office, I run them a test, salivary test for their DHEAs and the cortisol. They come back very low. I give them DHEAs and cortisol and they feel better. What do you guys think? If this is functional medicine? Is this holistic? Is this integrated? No. This is exactly same concept of conventional. You go to your primary care, he tests you, you have this X thing low, you give something to augment it. You have that thing high, you give you something to block it. Same concept. You come, you do run a test, the test shows that it's high or low. You don't think what caused this, you are dealing with a result, not the cause, right? So I'm surprised. Someone believes that he's doing functional or integrative medicine and still implementing same stupid concept of the conventional one, and he claims that he's doing the holistic thing. Or no, you are still doing restoration of what you have through the result, not through the cause. He's not treating the cause of what you have. That's why you are not doing anything. This is very important, because why I'm explaining you this, because I need to develop the mindset of each one of you to understand if you are approaching this, what you have to look at. When you ask your doctor and starting to explain anything or any question, if he started to explain it from this background, be sure that he is not going to help you. Right? Do you think what I'm saying is right? Looks like he's happy. He is. Okay. So this is important, guys, to understand, because this is the way you know what's the intention of your doctor, what's what's in his head, if he's going to really help or not. This is very important to understand. Either he's working with restoration from the conventional standpoint or alternative medicine standpoint. All right. Now, let's start talking about something else. It's the second thing in our presentation, which is what do you expect if you decide to choose functional medicine as a tool to manage your illness? Although I mentioned, we talked about this the last time in the last presentation, but we are going to suggest different techniques to deal with that thing. Like any specialty, the first thing you're gonna do is to schedule an appointment, right? Like anything, you need, or you're seeking help of someone, you need to schedule an appointment with this guy. All right, and because of the technology, there are thousands of ways now doing this. Some doctors prefer to have to make use of the technology, so a lot of them have their websites computerized to set your appointment over the internet. If you are not happy with the, or you cannot deal with the technology, still have to call them over the phone, and you have your appointment. You can do it different, right? This is not the issue. And then the most common thing, or the most important, thing that comes next is the history and the physical. History and physical forms of the functional medicine is completely different from conventional. The conventional one, when you used to go to your primary care or any specialist, once you get into the clinic, the nurse or the one in the register give you a couple of pages to fill, and most probably they ask you to come like 15 or 30 minutes earlier than expected appointment. That's just to give you some time to fill this up before you get into the before you start your appointment. You start to fill this up and give it to the nurse, and nurse is going to forward to your doctor. How many times, guy, you think, based on your health journey, that you really feel or you really felt that what you spent like half an hour filling this up? How many times you really feel that your doctor had a few minutes to go over it? Do you guys feel like that your doctor went over what you wrote?
No.
I'm sure. Why? And he keep asking you questions, and you answer it, and you're surprised. Did this guy have dementia? Does he have Alzheimer? What's wrong with this doctor? I just wrote clearly that I have this, I have that, the sequence of it. So what's the point? If there is no point filling this, and you spend half an hour, and you get a pen, I don't have a pen, and you started to ask your husband or your friend or your mom, you call over the phone, I don't remember when was the last time I did this or did that, and you keep doing some calls, and you feel like you have hard job to fill this form, and then after you get into your appointment with your doctor, you're surprised that your doctor had nothing to do with this form, and he didn't even look at it. So it's a kind of documentation for the doctor just to cover himself, and that's it. He never look at what's written. So in his plan, be sure that what you wrote in this form he's not going to make use of it and put it in his plan. Why? Because he doesn't read it. Why? I have no clue. He just want to show the insurance, or if anything raised down the way in the future, that you did your part. This patient came to my office on September 25th complaining of blah, blah, blah. I sent him a form by protocol because he's as a doctor is supposed to do that. And he filled it up, and I'm aware of everything. No one can catch anything. He filled it up, I look at it, I know everything. Who is going to say 100% that this doctor went over it or not? You. When you go to your appointment, you will be surprised that you are sure, I did sure, that this doctor didn't even have a single minute looking at this. In functional medicine or any alternative approach, this HMP form, it might take you 5 hours or 3 hours or 4 hours to fill. Why? Because your doctor is going to send you this like 2 weeks ahead of your appointment. He's not going to surprise you with a bunch of papers to be filled. And the reason why he's doing this is not to make your life terrible or want to get on your nerves or something like that. No, he wants to know all the details about your medical condition so that he can help. You have to understand that this loop I just explained, it has a lot of details. And these details you cannot just assume it. You have to ask the patient. Each for the big items, it has a lot of questions underneath. And this is what the questionnaires should focus on, to fill the gaps and try to get all the information to serve in your treatment. You need to have this done before your appointment. So most of offices now, they have like the interface between the patient and the doctors through an application in the website. So you have an account with an ID and password, and you log to this, and you have all these questions. You answer it even every day. You take like sometimes to fill it at home, like a week ahead of your appointment, and take your time. If it's 2 weeks, every day, like 15 minutes, and you start to and you can save your answer till the next day. And once you're done, you press submit. Your doctor, it's going to give an alarm to your doctor so he can download every little thing. And it has to be submitted to your doctor like a few days ahead of your appointment to make sure that your doctor will print it out and go over everything. And be sure that he's not going to ask you these questions again. He is going to be ready to have a plan for you. Not like, yes, you mentioned in your form that you have this. Let's talk about, no, it's not going to be like that. You are there to your doctor is going to interpret everything you've put in this form to come up with a plan, to explain to you what he's planning to do in your life. So don't expect that you are going to go and then you're gonna go over things that you already felt. You are there to know what's going to be the deal. Can you help me? What's your approach? What you are going to do? How long you think that might take? What are the tools they are going to use? All of these kind of things. This is going to be the discussion, not like starting from the scratch. So the HMP, as I explained to you, is very crucial. It's not like what you used to have with your primary care or even the specialist, where you filled some forms and then you are sure that your doctor didn't have a single moment to look at them. Second thing, which is very important, looks like we lost something here. Take a look around this way. Good. Labs. Yeah, this is good too because you can solve the problem. 5 hours ago. You check back when you're done. Just don't take the corner. Get it done, sir. Okay. As I mentioned, this part which is very important, especially for labs. I want you to be aware that labs having a negative result does not mean you don't have it. I explained this to you and now you know. It doesn't mean at all that any doctor, either conventional, for sure it's conventional. Conventional doesn't believe if your result is negative, it's negative, and he is not supposed to give you anything else because it's negative. The reason why the conventional is doing this, because he cannot create a code for the Medicare or the Medicaid or the private insurance, pay him and accept your claim unless he has a code of your illness and he has something to support what he's saying. That's why they are crazy about doing labs and X-ray studies, MRI, CTs, because this is the way he got paid. If he doesn't have things to support his diagnosis and the code, nothing. He cannot say anything and probably is not going to get paid. And your claim is going to be rejected and it will end up that you are going to get a bill and you're going to pay it out of pocket. So that's why they are crazy about it. Treatment is the last thing that your doctor, definitely as a functional medicine specialist, is going to come and say, okay, we have this plan based on this and that, and we are going to form a plan to go through, and that should help you. And as I explained, always remember this, that the FM, which is functional medicine, holistic, integrated practitioner, are not the same. This is what I explained. I'm trying to give you clues, things that can help you to know if you are going to use this as an approach to help you with your health, how to build a kind of things in your head to help you to see if this person or this doctor is going to help me or is going to be a matter of wasting of time and effort, trying to help you. So let's come to the critical part. The critical part is always money. As you all know, these kinds of medicine, either functional, integrative, holistic, or any alternative, by 90%, if not more, that are not covered by any kind of insurance, either Medicare, Medicaid, that's for sure, they don't pay for that, and even the private, even if you have the best private insurance, most probably they will decline it. Either investigations, consultations, follow-ups, anything. What are the main things that are going to pay out of pocket? Basically everything, which is consultation of the doctor, follow-ups with the doctor, investigation he's recommending, which is functional medicine investigations, supplements that you are going to buy, organic and healthy food that's usually recommended by your doctor. So everything looks horrible. Actually this slide was on my last presentation. I think I discussed it. But what I did over the last few months, because I'm ahead on opening my business actually in 6 weeks from now, and I was thinking, how can I deal with this? Every day it was the main thing. I wake up in the morning. What can I do? I understand that someone who has just neck pain as his main problem in life, or someone who has low back pain or migraine, and that's it. This is all what he has. And he tried with conventional and it doesn't work, and he's seeking alternative. How many sessions you guys, or consultation or follow-ups, you think this man or woman is going to have? Once? Twice? This is nothing, okay? And what kind of approaches or supplements or thing he's going to be on is not going to cost much. The problem is this kind of complex diseases. Like what? Like someone who has autoimmune illness, fibromyalgia, certain functional pain syndromes, all of this kind of things that you need to work with your doctor for extended period of time. It's going to be huge amount of money. Not only for the consultation and the follow-ups, it's also for the investigation. If you are working with someone with very limited knowledge, he is going to flood you with tons of investigation. This is one of the keys. If you find your alternative doctor, holistic, functional medicine, is asking for too many investigations, be sure that this guy is going to be a waste. He's not going to help you. This is what they teach us during our courses, that you still need some investigations, but the more knowledge you have, the less investigation you are going to use for the patient. Once you work with a doctor and he is doing a lot of investigations, one after another, and he tells you this is different from your conventional, I'm trying to reach the cause, because it's all about the cause, right? This is what I just said. It's all about the cause. It's not the result like the conventional. We're looking for the cause, and the cause is hidden, and we need a lot of investigation to know what's going on. Okay. What do I expect for someone sick for 10 years and no one have a clue what's going on? What should I expect? He has everything. What's the point to give you, for example, probably I'm going to give you some functional medicine names. I'm pretty sure probably you are aware of it if you are in this process and you heard about it. If I'm asking you to do comprehensive digestive stool analysis, CDSA, very common. This is a common trend, guys. You go to any integrative or holistic doctors, alternative, let's do this test. This is like ABC. I cannot touch you. I cannot think anything about you. We need to do this test now. Why? What's the point? I know ahead of time, if I ask and if I did this test for anyone sitting in front of me, it will come back positive. And you don't assimilate, you do not digest, you cannot do anything. Here we go. Back to the freaking loop I just explained. Here. Why are you wasting your patient effort and money? You would better save this for something else, like the food you're going to eat. This test costs at an average, it depends on the lab, between 300 to 700. It depends. Why it varies? Because sometimes it's a wholesale. Some of the doctors get a wholesale and can get these kits for a reasonable price and try to make some money out of it. So some doctors sell it for 300, 400, 500, 600, whatever, okay? And then ask you for something, and you know ahead of time that your patient had it. So what's the point? And again, what is the The main point of doing an investigation is just to do it to diagnose. Fine, let's say. And then after sometimes you need to repeat it in the middle of the cycle of your plan of or your plan of cure of this patient to see if you are doing the right thing. And you should do it one more time by the end to make sure that you cure the patient. That means that you're gonna do a single test like this 3 times. This will cost $2,000. And you are like a slave. Okay, my doctor told me he cannot work with this test, so we're gonna do it times 3 times 600. This is $2,000 in a single test that you don't have to do. Why? Is it because it's not important? It's important. Okay, fine. It will show that you don't assimilate and digest food. We know that you don't digest food. What's the point? Am I going to repeat this 3 times? You guys, do you think, guys, this makes sense to you? I don't think so. Give you another example. Did your doctor want to catch anything positive in you to convince you that he is your hero and he got the clue and no one in the city knows anything and I just point, yes, I'm gonna do the investigation and come back positive? And we start from there. Like what? Like this. Salivary diarrhea and cortisol. It's magic. What do you think someone with autoimmune process would have adrenal fatigue? You have it positive or negative? Even if it's negative, what did I say about the investigation? It doesn't mean that it's negative, you don't have it. It's the opposite. So is it like a magic? We know you should have some sort of adrenal fatigue. What's the point of doing the test? Are you going to repeat it 10 times? If your patient is you're gonna work with this patient for a year, every visit or every 3 visits, you are going to repeat a test of $250 or so? Again, same thing. Same thing. And you are not touching the base here, which is the stupid, again, biofilm. This is something that no single investigation can touch anything with this. It's a problem mainly affecting in your small intestine. You go to your GI doctor, he's going to stick an laparoscope in your throat, is going to see everything from your mouth down to your duodenum, which is the beginning of the small intestine. And you're gonna go to the same doctor the next year, he's going to stick a scope down in your butt to see your colon, which is just the flush with the end of your small intestine. So these couple of scopes, upper and lower, is going to see and have biopsy of everything from your mouth down except your small intestine, where this process happened, which is the biofilm. The biofilm is an hidden area. No one knows, or no single investigation or any single study is touching this area, either by indirect investigation or direct visualization, or nothing is working in this part. So we are in front of something hidden, and the 3 things for granted, you're gonna have a problem. So when someone thinks that he's genius and is trying to do any test to pick on this, we know it's positive and you are losing the core. And based on this thing that came back positive, he started to build his plan, because this is the only positive thing. Your thyroid looks good. I'm not sure about your digestive capacity. The biofilm is like nowhere. Yes, you have adrenal fatigue. We're gonna start hitting at this point and start working down, following a test, nothing. Why? You are just focused in a single piece of puzzle, and you convinced your patient that this is it. It's positive, and your patient, yeah, I've been working for 10 years, I went to 5,000 doctors, everything is negative, I don't know. I have something positive. Did it help you out? Answer is big no. So, what we're gonna do with this? Do you guys have any idea? I have already the solution of this. So, I'm very flexible guy and always here, because probably you're gonna come up with an idea that might help me with my clinic. So what do you guys think? How can we deal with this?
I want an
Wish I knew.
appointment, please.
Yes, exactly. I wish I knew, I wouldn't be here.
Soon, happen in 6 weeks. So, one
Ideas to come up with expenses.
Hmm?
We'll have a fundraiser.
Oh, yes.
You have thousands of patients in Quetzal, thousands. You probably know hundreds of them. By statistics, 20%, I probably said this number before, and you can Google it, it's not a secret. 20% of entire human race have autoimmune illness. 1 every 5. You're gonna have it by a mean or another in your lifetime.
I've even heard higher,
Yeah.
third even, like at least people that don't have a diagnosis that have problems.
This is what we have, they already have the diagnosis, because the reason why the number is increasing, because they started to recognize certain medical condition as an autoimmune.
Right.
And everyone has it, which is IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. This is the first thing. If you have this only, you are very early in the process. Don't take it lightly. If someone diagnoses, oh man, you're just stressed, you smoke a lot, you drink a lot, you have some stress at work, or you have something, that's why you have this irritable bowel. This is number 1. Once you have this irritable bowel and the rest of your body is good, you just have, if you take this lightly, year after year after year, and you take it lightly, it will expand, it will affect, it will cause this loop, it will end up with autoimmunity. Don't take things lightly. This is the first thing. Once you have something that affects the immunity of your gut, and you take it lightly, it will go into spiral. You're gonna go into spiral, and you're gonna get it. So, with this increasing number of autoimmunity and the thousands of patients that are suffering from this, and the failure of medical insurance or any private insurance to cover the expenses of this, most of patients seek internet, self-treatment. In simple things, it might work. In complex diseases, no. If you have a complex disease, no, you need someone to guide. But if you have just, as explained, a little anxiety, I feel like I get furious very quickly. Yes, you have an anxiety disorder. What's your doctor is going to give you? An anxiolytic. Is this a radical treatment? No. If this is your only problem, fine. You can read, you can start to modify your lifestyle, your eating habits, you have some supplements to help you instead of this crazy anxiolytic things they are giving you or antidepressant, that might work. If this is the only problem, it's a very simple problem. As I explained, migraine, back issues, fine. It's like things that you can deal with. But in complex problem like autoimmune, whenever it touches the autoimmune, it's very complex, big issue that needs a lot of care. And as I said, none of the insurance is going to cover this. So you may think that one day these insurance carriers are going to pay for this. No. You're taking lightly. It will. Not sure when, but it will take years. When everyone in his board, every doctor in his board started to implement this, and we have a lot of doctors believing this, started to have articles in internal medicine, in hematology, in surgery, in anesthesia, in pain management, and everyone is working in this area is going to be a standard of care, and you're going to push all of the insurance carriers to pay for it. How long that might take, I have no answer, I don't know. I have no answer, but it will happen. Maybe in 20 years, 15 years, 10 years, 30 years, I have no idea. I have no idea, but someone has to start, and it's becoming a trend, and a lot of people now starting to work in this area. The number of articles in the PubMed, which is the official site for all of the new researches and all the articles, is increasing since late 2015 till now. It was like tens, now it's hundreds every month, hundreds every month. So it's a strong trend. It posed by pharmaceutical companies. Probably I explained this before. Pharmaceutical companies are opposing this move because they think that the only people having the secrets of everything. They don't want to hear someone come from any angle saying, guys, the basic science says something. They're gonna shut him up. No, you shut up. Or they buy them. They pay them, guys. Okay, you're gonna be in our team. Come. Okay, what are your credentials? What are your qualifications? Oh, really good, you're fantastic, okay. And based on his qualification, they pay him, and he's going to be part of the team. And the next month, he switched all of what he said for their benefit. This is quite common, it happens, everyone knows it, it's not a secret. Everyone knows it, it's not, you're not gonna change the word. It's fact, it's there. So, about the, so I kept thinking about what we can do in order to minimize the cost to a reasonable amount, especially if someone is going to go to do this for extended period of time. As I explained, it might hit 6 months, 1 year, and you're gonna be in certain regimen and certain follow-ups, certain investigations, supplements, organic food. What can we do with that? So I found the answer here. Have you ever heard about this?
I'm serious. Yeah,
Have you ever heard about this, guys?
yeah, Sean Hannity's had the doctor from Kansas on his show talking about that.
Yeah. And they found that, I will explain to you briefly, it's long story. They found this kind of medicine where the patient have like kind of private contract with the physician, so that he can make use of a lot of discounts. Instead, like if you went to anyone with alternative medicine here in Quad City, with whatever qualification, especially if he's MD, you're gonna find that the expenses are very high, ranging from $250 or $300 to $400. Their session is going to be different per session, and it's like almost 1 hour session. If you're gonna work for a year, multiply this times 4, so this by itself $5,000 as consultation and follow-ups. So to start with, you have $5,000. This is a huge figure. This is excluding any expenses of investigations and supplements. Excluding. This is just the fee. Okay. And as I told you, someone genius, and he keep asking you for investigation, and I explained to you a single investigation, how much it cost, and he's going to do this 2 or 3 times down the road to make sure that he is working in the right path. Add this and multiply times, I'm not sure how many times, and add it to the 5,000. And then the supplement as well. And then the organic, it will end up with a huge figure. Definitely, it's going to probably exceed 20,000 or something like that. If we're gonna simple math, is going to end up with big figure. So I like math, and I started to think, what can we do with this? As long as we or your doctor decide that you are going to fit this model, which is the concierge medicine, based on certain criteria. What are the main criteria? That you definitely need treatment for more than 6 months to 1 year. This is very important, because there is no point to get involved within the process like this if it's just a single session and that's it, or 2 sessions and that's it. You don't have to, right? But if you are going to have long-term relationship like this, you need to have system to minimize the cost. And this actually helped to minimize the cost with up to 30 to 40%. Or what you have to do, it's like, when I looked it up, it looks like it's kind of legal terms. It's like mortgage. It's not like mortgages or any lease or anything. That it's a deal for 1 year that are gonna take care of these problems for the next year. You have 12 sessions to take care of this. The expenses of this could be split in a different way, in quaternary basis or 6 months basis, paid ahead, but definitely it's not going, it's going, most of the time it's usually with 30 up to 35 or 40% compared to the regular rates. And this is important. And there is some regulation, if you try to terminate this early, it's like any kind of deal between two, it has terms. You guys approved upon. This by itself will drop the cost of this follow-ups and consultation to a reasonable number that you can pay on quaternary basis. This is to start. This is the item number 1. which is very important, which is very expensive. Again, when I start to think about it, and actually this is what actually happened to me. I was working with someone, and I figured out like the first meeting is the most important one for the doctor to grab the information about the patient. And the patient need the doctor down the road for short consult, a lot of short consult, rather than sitting with the patient for an hour every month. Because it's a very life process, it's a lot of hectic things that is going to happen down the road. So you feel like waiting for another month to talk to your doctor or doing this or that is not going to be, it's good to have an access to your doctor, but it's not going to, you're not gonna feel like this relation is life. So what I found in this kind, or in this model, that they have different approaches, like doing face-to-face, definitely, especially the first time. They use telemedicine, which is something I really like a lot. It's HIPAA approved, which is the telemedicine. Telemedicine means that probably with this frequent appointment, you are working. You have tight time to go with this frequency. You still have your consultation video recorded with certain website, not like commercial things like Facebook or Messenger or these things. These are not HIPAA approved. They can be easily hacked, and they are not HIPAA approved. Some doctors doing this, but this is, by the way, against the law. If someone tells you that it's legal, it's okay, we can do it, this is not a good idea to do. WhatsApp and all of these kinds of apps, this is not good. And there is something approved by American Board of Telemedicine. There is a board regulating regulating this kind of medicine, and it's approved that someone expertise in certain state can help and give advice and give everything to someone, one in Boston, the other in San Diego. They can deal with them with this special software. This is what I'm planning to use as well. And it's an option. If you feel like you want to be face to face and you are living, you have time, and you don't have a lot of responsibility, you cannot take a time off while working, or at work they have problem to release you to have your appointment. This happens a lot. So if you are fine with having regular meeting, fine. If not, this should work good. Other things that's also important is, and they have actually regulation by a lot of lawyers, which is secured texting, but this also included in this kind of medicine, because sometimes or through your email in the application, or the online application that you fill your forms in the first time. You remember when you have filled your forms, you have like username and ID and everything and password to fill your application. You're gonna have like a mean of contact, secure contact through this website. So you still have an access to your doctor. If you have any question problem happen with the supplement he prescribed, or you started to have weird symptoms that you don't need to have it down the process of your recovery, and you're not sure if this is normal to have or this is abnormal, you're not sure, and your appointment is like in 20 days, what you gonna do now? Should you call him and have an online follow-up and you're gonna pay again? Or this should be included in the package? This is important. You're gonna feel like you need to know, right? If you have this kind of concierge medicine, it's going to have you the ability to ask your doctor about events that might happen to you. I'm not sure what to do at this point. And the doctors usually respond to the answer of your question within the next 24 hours, which is very reasonable. It's not like you have to wait for 20 days, or you have to feel like there's something wrong, I have to rush myself to emergency room, or something like that. This is very important. So it gives you an access to your doctor with the fee that it's already included, beside the regular visits that's already scheduled and paid in a reasonable rate compared to the single rate that most of people here in Quad City or anywhere in the country offer. The next thing is the investigation. How can we do anything with this investigation? As I told you, the investigation, I explained it 100,000 times and I stress on it. Investigations are important at certain points, and it's going to be done once and not all the way. It's like you're going to have probably one or two in a year. And mainly, it's going to be targeted not to the process. No. What I'm planning to do, I'm sure that everyone have underlying genetic problem and he's not aware of. You can either have gluten sensitivity, something with HLA-DQ8, it's something in your genes, or you have something like MET-HFR, it's one of the genes. It's very common to have problem with this gene. You have problem with methylation, which is very active process in your body. A lot of people have it and doesn't know. And this actually, the reason why you develop autoimmune, you are not like anyone. Your adaptability or your power to detoxify this thing, in all of these bad things in your environment is different. Someone healthy doesn't have this MET-HFR, which is quite common, genetic problem, can deal with the viruses in food, or parasites or bacteria, completely different. But because you have this problem with these genes, you cannot detoxify heavy metals or all of these viruses, parasites, and these kind of things start to stick to your body and cause this kind of autoimmunity we explained. So I'm not going to start with this from the beginning to spend money in something. What if you know in the beginning of the process that you have this? Will this help? It's going to make you more frustrated. Oh my gosh, I have autoimmunity and genetic problem. Now it's like, no hope, I'm not going to do anything. It doesn't make any sense to do it. You already have it from the time you get out from your from vaginal canal and you came to this life. So what's new now? Now you know it after 40 years. What's the point to do it as a first thing? It doesn't make any sense, right? When I should recommend doing this, before I tell you, now you are close to be normal, I'm gonna do this so that you know what's happening, and we're gonna reinforce this area doing blah, 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 blah to keep yourself healthy. We're gonna do it by the end. It doesn't make any sense to do it early in the process, right? It's going to frustrate the patient. It's not going to change anything in my plan. You're gonna waste some money and you feel like you didn't see result yet. I need to see something to encourage me to keep going, to keep doing what we're doing. You need something like this in the beginning to feel like that what you're doing is really promising. Not like doing investigation and you put more loads in your head and you don't see results. It's very frustrating. You guys agree, right? Yeah, it seems like those make sense. So for investigations, even if you feel like we are doing this, most of people following this model of applying this model in their practice, they get these investigations kits as a wholesale. So if you see that this kit is for 250, you can get it. I can get it with a wholesale with half of this price, basically. And when I get it to you, it's going to be under this kind of conservative medicine. You're gonna have it with different rate. For someone else, the doctor is, okay, how can I make money, to be honest with you, out of this patient? He's going to pay for his fee, and he's going to pay for the regular price of this investigation. It's all over the net. You're gonna Google how much this investigation costs. It's no. Most of the websites, you're gonna have walk-in lab or whatever, anything. You're gonna find it's like, okay, this costs whatever. But with this model, the cost, because of the wholesale, is going to drop by probably with another 20, 30, up to 40%. Again, supplements is going to follow the same thing. Wholesale is completely different from the prices you get. It's going to be included in this model. The only thing that actually I don't have any control over it, I don't have any control over IV, right? I don't have any control over anything like organic and healthy food. This is something actually I have no control. So to summarize this out, how this conservative medicine can help, consultation and follow-ups, discounts, other ways of communication like what we said, the telemedicine. This is going to give some vibrant kind of communication with your doctor so that you feel that if you have a question, you can email him, you can text, you can, through the secure kind of emails that you're going to have with them. investigation the scans and supplement the scans with this model. The last slide here, which is about the reasons of failure and problems preventing successful outcome after choosing functional medicine or any alternative approach to deal with your illness. I tried to summarize things here so that, again, the main reason of this presentation is important to educate you how to pick your doctor so that you don't keep wrong decisions, wasting your time, wasting your money, wasting your everything. It ends up that you're going to be hopeless and helpless. So trying to summarize things again. Major pitfalls from the patient side and from doctor side. From the patient side, whenever you are hit, it's a complex problems like autoimmune disease, self-treatment, it will end up with that you are going to be wandering all the time in the aisles of CVS, vitamin shopping, Amazon, buying things, and you think that this couple of bottles coming and you're waiting, I can't wait, it's coming from Amazon, this is what gonna restore my health, and you're waiting, and then you got to get this bottle and have the tablets. The result is nothing, you guys know. Health insurance and financial, these 3 points, which is the health insurance and financial problems. This is one of the obstacles because the patient sometimes in the beginning feel very motivated to start something like that, and then down the road he can't absorb that this doctor is going to have a relation with this doctor for a year, and he think that after having a single appointment that should take care of the problem, and he realize that it's not covered, or even if you know if it's not covered, you think that it's going to be for a couple of times, and then you're stuck that, oh my gosh, this is going to cost a lot, and then you're gonna quit early without getting any benefit out of what you did, and it ends up, these guys are thieves, they cannot help, they take a lot of money, I cannot do this, this is not going to help, I'm not going to try it again. So, long duration of the treatment is one of the causes why patients think that, okay, this is very long, I'm not, when should I expect some result? What can I do? This is one of the reasons a lot of patients doesn't seek this model. And then non-compliance from the patient, this is also one of the things. So the last thing, I think this kind of models that I just explained with the concierge medicine should cover some of this. Should cover the health insurance issue because it will minimize the cost. Long duration of the treatment is not going to become an issue because it's already absorbed in this concierge medicine. Non-compliance is the open channel between the doctor and the patient down the road will give kind of assurance every now and then that you are communicating with someone. Something else that I'm planning to do it as well, which is very important, which kind of you need to feel like you are not alone doing this thing either. You are not alone in your illness, and you are not alone down the process of restoration, because you think that what's happening to you, as I explained to you, you remember this slide when I explained how many sources of pain you're going to have from your primary illness, from the damage that this illness caused, from the die-off symptoms. You have a lot of channels attacking your body and increasing your illness. So you have to know either this is in your head, or this is because of treatment, or because of my original problems, or because of I've been sick for 15 years, this must cause a lot of damage in my body. You need to meet with people in the same stage to see their experience. This is what I'm planning to do in the office. People who have the same, they are in the same stage should gather on regular basis, like at least on monthly basis, for a few minutes, for 15 minutes or for 20 minutes, to sit with each other, to share their experience. And at a certain point, you need to sit with people ahead of you to see yourself in 3 months or to see yourself in 6 months, because this is going to be very promising. If you feel like you are in the middle now, you improved but not completely, you need to see people close to the end, right? So that you feel like, okay, this guy had the same thing like me, he tried this and he started to feel better. Isolation is one of the causes that make everything dramatic for you. It's what is going to multiply your illness for no reason, because you are not sure. It's just me. What's going on? What's happening? This is very important to see people in the same boat and people ahead of you to give you the courage, and you see yourself in 6 months from now, which is very important. From doctor side, we already explained this. lack of knowledge. In order to avoid this, what you're gonna do, it's important to Google this doctor to see his credential, to see his website, to see if he has any blogs and what the people dealing with or patient dealing with this doctor. Because if it's a blog in the internet, you're gonna have feedback of people compared to the website. The website is solid. Everyone can say anything in the website about him. Say, I am the best doctor in the planet. I can do that. I can do this the next day. I can go to one of the IT companies or they can create a website for me. Whatever. This is very easy, right? But see what people think about this doctor, what his patients think about these doctors, right? If he has a blog. So whenever you have a patient, a doctor, and he's brave enough to have his website attached with a blog so that people can put their feedback about him, he knows what he's doing. He's not afraid. Even if 1 or 2 out of 100 are not satisfied, you have 98. He is brave. He knows what he's doing. He knows that he's successful. He is curing. He is achieving with patient. Not like, I am the best one and let's see if people will figure if I am or not. It doesn't make sense. No clear plan. We explained this. It's very important to understand, to discuss with your patient, with your doctor, if he's going to what's his vision, what he's planning to do. Now we had our first meeting, and you told me that I have, based on that thing I filled up over the last 7 days, and now you have all the details of everything you know about me, from the time I came to life, what kind of food I was eating, what kind of water, what city you were raised, what kind of water you were drinking, what kind of stresses, what kind of everything. He's going to ask about details that you don't think that it might be of significance, but it will, and it's going to incorporate it in a way to another to the basis of your illness. So after all of this, if there is no plan and the doctor doesn't have a vision and it phases and things that are going to go through over 1 year, if we figure out after the first meeting that the doctor doesn't have a vision and doesn't have a set up plan for you, please don't proceed. Too many investigation, we already covered this part. Whenever you find, they don't go together. Too many investigation and knowledge. You have knowledge, you minimize investigation. You do the opposite job that needs this doctor, doesn't have knowledge. Limited scope of treatment, as I explained. Like this kind of doctors that says everything is candida, everything is Lyme, everything is parasites, everything is heavy metals, everything is mercury, everything is adrenal fatigue, this kind of doctors and they're very successful, they are top ranked in Google. You're gonna find whenever, doctor, wherever he specialized in this, whenever you find someone with this narrow scope or limited scope, be sure you're not gonna get anything out of it. He's playing with a very little piece of puzzle in your body, and this is not going to happen. So I'm planning to have a couple of websites, one for the clinic, one for information only, medical information. I'm not settled which one I'm planning to use actually for each one. Probably the one on the top is going to be for the clinic. It's called Bottom Line Clinic. Because probably the color is, can you see? Anyway.
What does the top say? Bottom line.
Bottom line dot clinic. This one, it doesn't have, just have the basic things about mission, vision, illness we are covering, what you expect when you have a visit. Well, this kind of basic stuff is not tutorial. It's not kind of things that we just talked about this today. You know, this kind, my approach, what we are doing in scientific terms. This top site is not going to help with that. This is our kind of website just to orient people that there is a clinic in Quad City doing this kind of business, you know? But the other one, the one on the bottom, this is what most probably gonna use for information for the patient and awareness and regular newsletter. Whoever is going to subscribe to this website, it's free, but it's going to be linked to the main clinic by a mean or another. And if anything is going to be published in American Society of Regional Anesthesia, which is I'm chief of this society, I'm going to give links probably in the bottom website directly to the American Society of Regional Anesthesia and Pain Management or vice versa. I can do dual, you know. And hopefully you find what we said and explained today effective, give you some hope for the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions on my endurance? I'm pretty sure it's very hard to integrate everything I went through over the last 3 years to upload it to the system and simplify it, because everything I have is like in very complex scientific terms, articles. Sometimes you feel lost if you go through it. It's very complicated. You're not gonna get much of it if you read this. So it has to be simplified in a way to make use of it for your awareness and to understand what your doctor is doing, either me or someone else. It's very important to understand. And if you feel like you're working with someone else and what he's doing doesn't make sense to you, so to what you read, yeah, you know, it's going to be close to good doctors in functional medicine, like Dr. Mercola. You know Mercola, for example. You know Mark Hyman. These are good doctors, definitely. They are pioneers of this field. They have 2 websites, one for their clinic and one for teaching either patient or doctors. Because doctors not working in this field, they are completely ignorant about what's going on. So you need to teach doctors so that you educate more people, educate more doctors. So this is going to spread to everyone and change the quality of care. And as I told, this is the only way you make sure that down the road your insurance is going to cover this. Otherwise, it's not going to happen with increasing the awareness of people.
Well, I definitely want to make an appointment with you. I'm currently seeing a naturopath locally, and a lot of the things.
Did you find any of this kind of stories that I went through apply to you? I'm pretty sure, because it's very life. It happens to me. It happens to me. It happens with many patients I met, and this kind of stories happening over and over and over again. It doesn't stop. Yeah. So it's not a matter of I'm just reading your mind or something like that, because these are life stories. This is what's happening once you started to seek alternative approach. All of this kind of things are going to happen.
Yeah, I've had the stool test and the saliva test.
Yeah, very common. Yeah, you step in your office, you're gonna do this step. Okay, what did it show? Do you assimilate food good?
I have no lactobacillus in my gut,
Okay.
but I do have an overgrowth of, what's it called? Some other bad bacteria.
Okay.
So I'm taking berberine.
I tried it, by the way. Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
I tried. Yeah. It's not bad, but again,
It's not the whole picture.
not only the whole picture. This is not going to penetrate the biofilm.
And now I've been taking magnesium citrate for a while.
Good to fossilize it.
To help me. To help me.
I'm
And it-
sorry, I'm not-
I know, well, I know that really made I just sunk in my chair when you said that, because I've been taking it at night to sleep, and it helps with my bowels, and it
Yeah.
helps with.
Yeah, it's magic. It's good. Yeah, I know.
So I should probably stop that right now.
Actually,
It's just gonna make things.
we're gonna do the
worse.
opposite job. You're gonna strip magnesium and calcium out of the biofilm as the first step. To make it jelly again, it was like jello, right? And then fossilize. You need to strip the calcium and magnesium so that you have something like jello. And then you give very strong kind of enzymes, not over-the-counter enzymes, to dissolve this biofilm. And then you start to kill with the medication you just mentioned. There are a lot. And bacteria is the last to treat. The first is usually parasites and heavy metals, not the bacteria. Because if you didn't treat these two, the bacteria, even if you kill it, is going to come back. Reason of failure. So it's very important when you read in any website, SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, the one you have, what is the most common complication? Recurrence, right? Why it recur? Because you kill some of them and the rest are under the biofilm. And what else? Even if you successfully eradicate it, You didn't treat your thyroid, you didn't treat your enzymatic function, so the biofilm will form again. You see how this loop? This loop is very good, even if you know it. Sometimes you have hard time to, what can I do? It's like the chicken or the egg. Sometimes it's very difficult to find an answer. Chicken, if there is no egg, there is no chicken. If there is no chicken, there is no egg. What are we gonna do?
So what kills biofilm then?
Hmm?
What kills a biofilm?
What kills the biofilm? Strong enzymes and restoration of your body function. So you may ask, so what are we gonna do now? You need to have 3 things to dissolve this. After stripping, there are many things you have to use to strip the calcium and magnesium. Otherwise, you're gonna buy things and it's not going to work. So this solid material, you need to make it liquefied. And then after this, there is like many enzymes, but not like over the counter. There are like few, it has EDTA, EDTA, this is very important. And then it has certain enzymes coming from bacteria or viruses itself. There is a lot of them. I actually can buy them from Amazon. Streptocase, I think this is one of them. Nitocase, this is another one. And after this, you need to improve your bowel function with HCl is the best thing you can have. This is going to destroy your intestine. Why? Because it's very acidic, right? You take acids through your stomach, and it goes from your stomach to your intestine. A lot of articles you're gonna find that a lot of people say that don't take HCl in the beginning. Why? It's acid. It will help to digest food in your stomach, and after that will acidify everything and go to your intestine. Your intestine is not equipped to have HCl in it. You have other things to neutralize the HCl, which is the bile and your pancreas. They are both mixed substances, has alkaline media, like alkali. You know alkaline water? Don't take this one as well, this is too late.
Yeah.
So, if you feel like alkaline water is good, don't. So, your bile coming from the liver and your pancreas forms alkaline to neutralize the HCl you are taking so that your intestine doesn't burn out. As long if you take HCl without support from your gallbladder, and I know it's not working good, and your pancreas, this HCl you are having is going to burn your intestine, and you're gonna keep having leaky gut. So what you're gonna do? How you make sure that your bile is good, and your pancreas is good, working good to neutralize the HCl through T3. If you take T3, I'm not complicating things by the way, but this is what actually happened. If you take T3 to improve this too, so that the HCl doesn't burn your intestine, if you take cytomel, which is a T3, you're gonna screw up your suprarenal gland. Why? Because you're gonna put burden on your suprarenal gland, because your thyroxine is going to use your body, everything in your body, to make energy. Your body cannot assimilate food, so you cannot digest, right? So your thyroxine needs something to get energy from, so it starts to attack your body. It's going to start to break down your fat, and it break down your muscles. See how it's the circle? So everything has to be done in a reversed way. You cannot have, like I explained this diagram, if you have everything and you know everything in this diagram, the 4 corners, and you get tablets, and you take it early in the morning, you're gonna get hurt. Like the way you are thinking to do now. You need to know things, and you wanna combine it, and you wanna have it. You're gonna hurt yourself. Why? Because you're gonna do this step, the previous step is going to screw up what you're doing. You're gonna do the other one ahead, you're gonna do the other one. How can you do this thing? It's sessions, you cannot do it yourself. If you have the same condition, lupus, and the one next you have the same condition, if each one of you is going to have different approach. Based on what? The H&P, history and physical, which is going to last like 3-4 hours to fill. you are gonna be, that's why this functional medicine is custom-made approach. It's not like you have headache, Tylenol, Advil. You have high blood pressure, losartan and captopril and carvedilol, or whatever. These are the medicines that you're not in grocery shop. It's not like a single pill fits all. No, this is something else. It's a science. Everyone is custom-made plan and approach. So this is very important. That's why you're trying to chase this kind of business. You're trying to get, I'm gonna try this. It doesn't work. I'm gonna try the other thing. It made me worse. I'm gonna try both together. Probably they're gonna augment each other. It doesn't work. It's like that. Your body works together to solve the puzzle. It's a lot of things. There is no single formula.
How big a part of diet is it? I mean, diet is a big important part, I would imagine, right?
It is. And we're gonna change the things that you are eating down the road. For example, to start with, most of you are already dairy and gluten-free. This is something like ABC in the beginning, okay? Certain other elimination regimens that you're gonna use down the road, people are not completely aware of it. It's like oxalate food, salicylate food, phenol-containing food. These are things that your body cannot assimilate as well, cannot deal with. You used to. And many people think that, oh my gosh, I used to know that these kind of things are very beneficial. Like salads, when you eat a lot of veggie. Veggie are good to have fibers and to make your bowel clear and everything, right? Yes, it has oxalates and salicylates. Your body cannot assimilate them. Why? Again, because you have poor digestive capacity because of your thyroid, and this thyroid because of the suprarenal playing in this area. This is endocrinology. This is the second most complicated science in the world, like hematology. It's very complicated. It's not like the primary care. You're in grocery store, you have this, you have that, you have that. No, it's very complicated. It's very integrated science. You feel like you are playing exactly with a chicken or egg. You cannot sort out things, which one before the other. It's very difficult. It needs intense concentration with the patient. See, this patient is going to be approached from this angle. The next patient is going to be approached from the other angle first. Why this? Why that? What we are going, and you have to know how to deal with the complication. It's very common. Some patients think that doctors are gods and they don't have mistakes. No, they are not. The most important is how to deal with the complication. Do you know if something wrong happened, how to deal with this? Wrong is not going to mean that you're going to give anaphylaxis or you're going to die. No, you might feel something that's not supposed to happen at this point. Yes, this might happen, but it's very important to realize it, recognize it, deal with it. Actually a lot of people working in this field especially, they copy and paste things from other websites. They realized that this business is very profitable. So they started to say, over a weekend course, and they have a certificate of whatever kind, and you don't know how strong is this certificate. And then they started to open business, and then they copy and paste things. So they only have this kind of formulas that one fits all. I only know I copy it from one of the famous websites. I'm trying to do this. If something happened, because you are not the author of this, you don't know the ins and outs of this. So when something wrong happens, you don't know what to do, right? But if you are the author, if you know everything about what you're doing, you will know how to deal with it. If the patient have this, oh, okay, now we're gonna change the plan, we're gonna do that, and this is going to work. You know, yeah.
How prevalent are eating disorders with people with autoimmune diseases?
Say it again.
How prevalent are people with eating disorders that have autoimmune disorders, or vice versa?
Okay, eating disorders. Eating disorders, they found that most of people with eating disorders of whatever kind have problem with neurotransmitters in their brain, especially dopamine and serotonin. These are the most common things. That's why when they treat them with antidepressant and an anxiolytic to adjust the level of these neurotransmitters in the brain to help with the to adjust your appetite and eating disorder, to take care of your eating disorder. So, is there any relation between the level of the serotonin and dopamine that cause this eating disorder and the autoimmunity? Yes. Either if you started with the eating disorder as the primary problem or the autoimmunity, both can cause each other. The autoimmunity, because it's in the gut. Most of the serotonin, 90% of the serotonin, which, as I explained, it controls your hunger center in the brain, formed in the gut. And the gut is the point of the autoimmunity hits in the beginning. So it hits the formation of serotonin. So your serotonin is going to be affected with the autoimmunity, and subsequently eating disorder will happen. This is if you have autoimmunity causing your eating disorder. What if you have eating disorder to start with and you don't have autoimmunity? This is your question, if it's like dual relationship. Yes, it does. Because a lot of time, people who usually eat a lot, especially they consume their digestive capacity in early adulthood. So what happens that if you started to eat a lot, even if you didn't gain weight, which is just very surprising. You see people and kids have high metabolism and they eat more than usual for their age. Their body is perfect, it's not bad, but they eat a lot. It happens that when you hit 20s or 30s, your digestive capacity is consumed or used up. And you started to have what happens when you have problems with the digestive capacity, biofilm, and then you started to have autoimmunity. So it's dual relationship. Eating disorder can cause autoimmunity. Autoimmunity can cause.
Well, I have an eating disorder. I
Do you have a
haven't
name?
had it very long.
Do you have a name, or you think that you have it?
No, I went to treatment for it.
Okay.
But I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia 2 years prior to that, but I've had IBS since I was 18. So, and there's autoimmune within my family, and now I'm diagnosed with autoimmune. And what I've found, because I knew nothing about eating disorders before, and I knew nothing about autoimmune disorders before, is that most of the people, if not all of the people that are in my support groups and that I went to treatment with, and what I've found in studies, is that most of them have autoimmune disorders. And so I've been studying a lot about nutrition.
Yep.
And how it affects the body. So everything you were saying earlier just really ties in with some of the other stuff that I've found.
Yep.
And I could see how, with what you were saying about the body only being able to really process maybe 30% of what you eat, but not really. I mean, it's just nothing is really working the way that it should be. Why people that have eating disorders have such difficulties recovering, because they're having all of this exacerbation from their diet, from their body reacting to what they eat, and just et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know, I find it very interesting. There's a lot more.
Yeah,
to
this
learn.
loop that I just explained, it covers a lot of things, and it can explain a lot of doubts and conflicts in your head. You can approach a lot of things happening, because like what you said, it's very common to see like 3 or 4 things happen together, like fibromyalgia, autoimmunity, and eating disorder. It's very common to find this combination. Fibromyalgia is by itself is not a disease. It's an outcome of a lot of imbalanced process in the body. It happens. If you have Lyme disease, you're gonna get fibromyalgia. If you have eating disorder, you're gonna get it. If you have systemic lupus, you're gonna get it. If you have MS, you're gonna get it. So fibromyalgia is an outcome of imbalance, and it comes down the way, either in the beginning or later. It will happen. And during the treatment of autoimmunity, this should take care of the other things. It's not going to be autoimmunity, and then after we get done with the autoimmunity, we'll see what we're gonna do with the fibromyalgia. No! Oh.
Well, it just kind of explains to me why, with all of the, because I work in an addiction treatment center for people that have alcohol and drug issues, but a lot of my studies as far as with my eating disorder and recovery with that is all about nutrition, and all these things tie together. But some of the nutrition things didn't make sense because people still weren't getting better. And so with just, I've never heard biofilm before, not once. I mean, and
This is an outcome
I
of
have,
you
like-
are not assimilating food.
Yeah.
You don't assimilate, you don't have enough digestive capacity. You can imagine. The food stuffs are going to come. Some of them, as I told you, your body gonna make use of them and digest them. The rest is going to go to your stool, and some of them is going to be used by this microorganism for their protection. And this is what God made to our body, that we have these enzymes to liquefy and prevent these things to build up in our body. I tell you one interesting thing. If you know somebody who have dental problems and they have a lot of the biofilm, the first time they describe it in dental, which is the plaques that they usually form. This is exactly one of the similar picture you see in your gut. It's the same. You see things that's sticking to your teeth, and you go to your dentist to scrub it. This is exactly what happens in your gut. If your amylase in your saliva is not concentrated enough, everything you eat, you're gonna start to have these biofilms on your teeth.
Yeah, they tried
Because
to,
of the enzymes.
they tried to treat some of my issues with my gut with taking Pepto-Bismol 3 times a day. And I did this for 3 months, and that was the first time I had any pain relief for about 2 years.
Yeah.
It was effective, but it was doing exactly what you're describing, just not deep enough, you know?
Not deep enough, and it causes a lot of constipation.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
yeah.
It's terrible.
I didn't like,
Yeah.
I found out what it was made out of, where it came from, and I was like, I don't want this in me. So
Yeah,
I
it's
found other ways.
constipating. Forget about the black colors too.
Yeah,
This
right,
is not a
right,
problem. I
right,
don't care
no.
about the colors. But the problem is the constipation, and you need always to have at least 2 bowel movements per day for anyone with autoimmune. You cannot have one every other day, or once daily even is not enough for someone with autoimmune. That's why patients with autoimmunity find that if they use an enema, they did a trial. If you have 2 or 3 forced bowel movement per day, you will feel that you're a different person. Do it. Get Animalax, disposable thing from Walgreens, and force yourself. It's not going to be painful. It injects something like water with something in it just to help it to lubricate things, and is going to help you to evacuate your bowel more than once per day, and see what's going to happen to your body. You're going to feel like you are alert, you're focused, you're motivated, you feel better, and you don't know what's going on just because you empty your bowel. What does that mean? That your power to live with any single toxin in your body is very low. Your body cannot deal with toxins. Everyone can retain this shit in their bowel for 2 days without any problem. But because your ability to live with anything toxic in your body is extremely low, even single bowel movement is not enough. Try it to prove that you have this problem. Try to have 3 bowels per day, by any means. Enema, toxic dose of magnesium, have like 15-20 tablets of chlorella, eat 10 cucumbers or British cucumber, break 1, anything, and see what's going to happen.
What was the product you said at Walgreens?
You're gonna find in the enema part with the constipation, it's kind of laxative, but I don't recommend oral laxative. This is very bad because it's going to dehydrate you. But this one, if your bowel habits is like once per day, try to use the other thing 2 more times, so that it will end up that you have 3 bowel movements. But it has to be sizable. That means that you need to have something oral, like something to expand it a little bit, and see what will happen to you. You're gonna feel like you're a different person. So what's happening? Why you are fresh? You feel energetic, you clear mind. You feel like you can cope with others. You feel like you are bright. You feel like really you're gonna feel like you're a different person. What's happening? I'm the same. What happened just because I pooped 3 times? This doesn't make any sense. But this is actually, I know if you did for anyone, if it's autoimmunity, when you empty your bowel more than once, you'll feel that you are more clear and that the pain in your body is less. Did you try this before? Did you notice this?
I've always had problems with my bowels, so I've tried lots of different things. And I have a friend that does like hydrocolon or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I haven't done that, but this makes me more intrigued to try to do that. But I'm glad to kind of hear you say, don't take like the oral stuff to help you make a bowel movement. I'm thinking of like stool softener, Miralax. Like, is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
That those aren't really good because they
Dehydrate the body.
They pull the water from
There's
the body.
other herbal substance I'm planning to use with the patient to help with this process, because sometimes you give medication to help with cleaning the biofilm and it causes constipation. You cannot do this, because if you start to use something to kill the biofilm, that means what? You're gonna liberate
Oh, the
a lot of-
toxins,
Toxins,
yeah.
and you need to give some stuffs to make your bowel move, so that you get rid of the toxins. So how can you do something?
I use soaked chia seeds. That seems to work the best for me. I feel like I have more energy, but also I feel like it coats things in a nice way and helps things move along. But I can't have that like every single day. It just kind of gets to be too much. But yeah, it's interesting because,
Lisa, wanna leave?
huh? Yeah,
Wanna
she
leave?
wants
I
to
need
leave.
to leave. I don't want to, but
Fine.
I fly out really early tomorrow and I
Sure.
haven't even packed. And this girl I didn't get a chance to take her home. So I don't want to leave.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Very
no problem.
good.
So if, yeah, I mean, stay as
Here's
long as
what you
Lisa's
do at
gonna
work.
stay, so.
They don't let you
I
look at
just have
Facebook
one
on the
final
job.
question.
But
Sure.
you plan for 3
Because I
times at
definitely
work a
wanna set
day.
an
You
appointment
go to the
after
bathroom,
this.
look
I
at
don't wanna
Facebook,
leave
and then,
without knowing.
sit at the same time.
Do I just
It's amazing
keep
how that
checking
works.
online, the website,
No,
or?
I already have my,
We used to
I
use
already
the
have
newspaper,
my
but
clinic.
well,
It's in downtown Moline. It's going to be in Caxton
I'm
Building.
actually
It's
not
just
on
next,
Facebook
next
that
to
much,
Coney,
but-
you know Coney
but
Building?
yeah.
Coney, the one in the River Drive.
Yes.
River Drive, you know?
Yeah.
You take exit 1 and you go left. This is
the one
the
thing
Caxton
that
Building is just next to this Coney Building. It's 1701.
So
And then-
stop in there?
1701 River Drive.
Stop in there to make an appointment, or?
No, you don't have to. There's gonna be a phone number. You're gonna everything. I think I'm gonna do enough media. You're gonna probably find it
Did you
in
write
a
down
lot
that
of things,
info?
newspaper. Maybe I'm gonna have something in the
Bye.
radio station. So you will know. I gotta tell Lisa to spread it like a newsletter to all of the members. So
Yeah,
you'll
we
be
will.
aware. Don't worry.
And
I can
bef-
do this.
And before, okay, so